Siberia, located to the east of Russia's Ural Mountains, is a fascinating area for many reasons. Siberia is famous for its severe winters and extensive terrain. In fact, if Siberia were its own country, it would be the world's largest by land area. Siberia covers over 13 million square kilometers, or 5.1 million square miles, accounting for 3/4 of all Russian territory and nearly 10% of the Earth's total surface. However, Siberia accounts for just 23% of the overall population of the vast country, with the remainder huddled in the white area symbolizing the rest of Russia. However, the low population is not the only weird aspect of Siberia. Many strange occurrences occur in that vast and freezing country. In addition to ancient viruses, researchers have discovered craters that formed for unknown reasons. In this video, we show the horrifying discoveries made by scientists in Siberia. Siberia is a land of opposites, and while the region is known with extremely frigid temperatures, the weather does not remain cold all year. During the Siberian winter, temperatures can drop to -94 degrees Fahrenheit or -70 degrees Celsius. Summers in Siberia, on the other hand, are warm, with some sections reaching highs of 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius. This weather is caused by the area's continental climate, which has chilly winters and pleasant summers. How long have people been present in Siberia? Surprisingly, people have populated Siberia for up to 125,000 years. In the Altai Mountains of Siberia, archaeologists uncovered a human bone belonging to a hybrid, the Denisovan and Neanderthal. Indigenous communities such as the Nivki, Evenki and Buryat have long lived in Siberian areas. Lake Baikal in Siberia has a depth of 5,387 feet, 1,642 meters, making it the deepest lake in the world. It holds more than 20% of the world's fresh surface water and is supplied by over 330 rivers. Every winter, the lake entirely freezes over, with ice as thick as 6.5 feet in some areas. Siberia is critical to Russia's economy since it supplies more than 70% of the country's oil and gas. Natural reserves cover an area of almost 2 million square kilometers. The Siberian Federal District includes 130 Siberian cities, including 3 with populations above 1 million: Novosibirsk, Omsk, and Krasnoyarsk. However, Siberia is full of bizarre, inexplicable mysteries, some of which have the potential to affect the whole planet. For example, how do you feel about a 30,000-year-old virus reviving? And not just any virus, but a jumbo-sized virus. Pithevirus sibericum, an ancient virus discovered buried 30 meters, 100 feet beneath the frozen earth, belongs to a class of enormous viruses identified 10 years ago. At 600 nanometers versus 500, this virus has a larger diameter than the other enormous viruses discovered. It has a 600,000 base pair genome. Imagine the rungs of the DNA ladder that each hold the genetic information necessary to produce one of the 500 proteins. The virus is so big that it can be seen under a microscope, unlike other viruses. The last time it infected anything was more than 30,000 years ago. Yet it has resurfaced in a laboratory. It attacks amoebas according to testing. Why, though, should you be concerned about this discovery? Because, as academics put it, this is a prescription for disaster. They suspect that additional deadly pathogens may be trapped in the permafrost. Since the 1970s, permafrost has retreated and shrunk in thickness, and climate change estimates indicate that it may shrink much further. It has also grown more accessible, and its natural resources are being sought for. Experts warn that uncovering the deep layers may result in the emergence of new viral threats. Professor Jean-Michel Claverie of the National Center for Scientific Research warns that it is a recipe for disaster. If you start having industrial explorations, people will start to move around the deep permafrost layers. Through mining and drilling, those old layers will be penetrated, and this is where the danger is coming from. For example, old strains of the smallpox virus, which was proclaimed eliminated 30 years ago, might represent a problem because if these viruses survive in the same manner as amoeba viruses do, Smallpox has not been wiped from the Earth, but has just been stopped on the surface. By going deeper, we may reawaken the prospect of smallpox becoming a human disease again. The Siberian virus luckily provides little threat to people since it cannot affect other animals or humans, but additional viruses may be released when the Earth gets exposed. Meanwhile, another mystery is emerging in Siberia's rivers, with fishermen reporting catching pikefish with horns. Alexei Volkov captured 2 of these unusual fish in Siberia's river Irtysh and characterized them as underwater dragons. Locals have blamed radiation or other pollutants, which they believe was caused by the fuel in debris dropped by space rockets launched from Baikonur in neighboring Kazakhstan. According to the regional Omsk news agency, part of the debris fell into the river, and a now defunct zirconium facility is also near to where Volkov caught the fish. According to Volkov of Tara, the larger fish had 2 horns, while the smaller one had 4. He said, "I was impressed with the catch. The fish were 14 kilograms and 7 kilograms. They had horns bent back towards their tail. The smaller fish had 4 horns. Both fish were immediately nicknamed dragons." Other fishermen warned Volkov not to eat these odd fish, but Volkov ate them anyway. He did, however, dry and preserve the strange heads that can be seen in his garage. The impact of the fish on Volkov's health is unknown, although villagers have attributed unusual ailments in newborns born in the vicinity on pollution from the rocket launch site. If that isn't enough to scare you, imagine the strange yet gigantic craters that have appeared over Siberia's tundra. It is not uncommon to see large and deep holes in various locations across the world as a result of mining and other human activities. However, when a Russian television team flying over the Siberian tundra in the summer of 2020 saw a large crater 30 meters deep and 20 meters broad, it sparked many doubts. The hole was astounding in its size, symmetry, and the tremendous force of nature required to produce it. Scientists were unsure how the massive hole, which was at least the 9th discovered in the region since 2013, developed. When the first crater was discovered near an oil and gas field in northwest Siberia's Ural Peninsula, speculations included a meteorite impact, a UFO landing, and the collapse of a secret underground military storage facility. Scientists would eventually uncover, however, a large crater erupting furiously and explosively in the Siberian tundra. A huge methane gas explosion that flung up ice and rock hundreds of feet distant created a gaping circular scar on the desolate and frightening terrain. It was the 17th hole discovered in the remote Yamal and Gaida peninsulas of Russia's Arctic since the first was discovered in 2013, perplexing experts. Drone photography, 3D modeling, and artificial intelligence are helping to unveil the mysteries of the craters, which are considered to be connected to climate change. The new crater is uniquely well preserved. A surface water hadn't yet accumulated in the crater when we surveyed it, which allowed us to study a fresh crater untouched by degradation. It was also the first time researchers were able to fly a drone deep into a crater, reaching 10 to 15 meters below surface and capturing the structure of the underground hole where methane had accumulated. The drone took roughly 80 images, allowing the researchers to create a 3D model of the crater, which is 30 meters deep and the size of 3 buses lined up end to end. The model revealed unique grottos or caves in the crater's lower section, confirming what scientists had hypothesized. Methane gas accumulates in a gap in the ice, resulting in the formation of a mound of ground level. The mound rises in size before exploding and spewing out ice into other debris, leaving behind the gigantic crater. The methane source might have been deep within the ground or closer to the surface, or a mix of the two. Permafrost is a massive natural store of methane, and methane is a powerful greenhouse gas that traps heat and warms the planet far more effectively than carbon dioxide. The Arctic is warming twice as quickly as the world average, and warmer summers have damaged the permafrost layer, which functions as a cap, allowing gas to escape. According to some scientists, the soil in the permafrost zone contains twice as much carbon as the atmosphere, making the region crucial in the battle against climate change. As a result, it is clear that climate change influences the likelihood of gas explosion craters forming in the northern permafrost. The researchers were also able to identify when the crater developed using satellite photos. They believed the mound would have exploded at some point between May 15th and June 9th, 2020. On July 16th, 2020, the crater was discovered during a helicopter flyover. The timing was not coincidental because it was the time of year when there was a lot of solar radiation intake, which allowed the snow in the higher layers of the Earth to melt, causing changes in their characteristics and behavior. While these craters have emerged in a sparsely inhabited area, they pose dangers to indigenous peoples as well as oil and gas infrastructure. The holes are frequently discovered by chance during helicopter flights or by reindeer herders, but they might be disastrous for the people who live nearby. Professor Vasily Bogoyevlensky, for example, interviewed a reindeer herder who observed a tremendous eruption of a mound in a river channel in the Ural Peninsula in 2017. Every morning she went to a little frost mound in the river since it was the highest point from which she could keep an eye on her reindeer. However, when the explosion occurred in the morning, she began to feel something in her legs and got scared, fleeing, which saved her life because the mound burst when she was about 200 or 300 meters away. Scientists don't know how many craters there are in total or when the next one will burst out, since they don't currently have effective methods for locating and mapping the gas emission craters. Let us know what you think about the intriguing Siberian discoveries in the comments section.